Did you know women can instinctively sense subtle cues that signal a lack of confidence? These signals can shape how they perceive you, affecting both their respect and attraction. The problem? A lot of men display these behaviors without even realizing it, often thinking they're just being polite. But these habits can quietly erode your presence. In this video, we're going to reveal 5 behaviors that might be making you appear weak in a woman's eyes, and how you can turn things around to become a more confident, attractive version of yourself. Let's dive in. 1. Constantly looking for her approval. Confidence is magnetic, but when you consistently look to a woman for reassurance, whether it's about your outfit, your restaurant choice, or how you come across, you subtly communicate that you lack trust in your own judgment. This doesn't just come off as indecisive, it slowly chips away at the image of a man who knows who he is. While seeking her opinion occasionally is thoughtful, overdoing it sends the wrong message. It tells her you're unsure and possibly even insecure. For example, if you're out on a date and can't decide what to order without asking, "What do you think I should get?" It might seem harmless, but it signals that you're not confident making even the simplest decisions. The truth is, women are drawn to men who have a clear sense of self. Men who take the lead not because they want control, but because they trust their own judgment. When you constantly defer to her for answers, she may begin to feel like she's steering the ship. And over time, this dynamic can make her feel less attracted, even if she doesn't consciously realize why. So, how do you fix this? Start with small decisions. Choose confidently, express your preferences, and stop worrying about whether she'll always agree. It's okay to value her input, but it's just as important to value your own. When you show that you can make decisions, big or small, with certainty and calmness, it reinforces that you're capable and self-assured. And that's what women truly respect and admire. 2. Avoiding conflict at all costs. Being easygoing and non-confrontational might seem like a good way to keep the peace. But when you avoid conflict to the point of silencing yourself, you start to lose her respect, whether she's aware of it or not. If you're the kind of guy who lets things slide even when they bother you, like being talked down to, ignored, or treated unfairly, you might think you're showing patience or maturity. But in reality, what she often sees is a lack of self-respect. And that perception slowly eats away at her attraction toward you. For instance, imagine you put effort into planning a great evening, only for her to spend the whole time scrolling through her phone. Instead of saying something, you laugh it off and act like it doesn't matter. You may think you're being relaxed and cool, but she might interpret your silence as weakness or low self-worth. Healthy relationships require boundaries. That doesn't mean you need to be aggressive or start fights. It simply means standing your ground in a calm, respectful way when something genuinely bothers you. If she says or does something that crosses a line, speak up with confidence and clarity. Setting boundaries is about showing her and yourself that your feelings matter. It's also a test of mutual respect. A woman who genuinely cares about you will appreciate your honesty and respond positively when you assert yourself respectfully. So the fix here is simple. Stop being afraid of conflict. When something's wrong, say so. You don't need to be confrontational. You just need to be clear. A man who can stand up for himself, even with grace, will always be seen as strong in her eyes. 3. Oversharing your insecurities. Too soon. Being emotionally open is important, especially in a healthy relationship. But there's a difference between vulnerability and dumping your emotional baggage too early. If you reveal all your insecurities too soon, especially in the beginning stages, it can feel overwhelming. Let's say you're on a second or third date and you start talking about how much you hate your job, how you've never felt confident in relationships, or how you constantly doubt yourself. While honesty is good, this level of emotional unloading can make her feel like she's being thrust into the role of your therapist instead of your romantic interest. Women appreciate emotional depth, but they also look for emotional resilience. If you present yourself as someone who's constantly struggling without showing any signs of growth or self-awareness, she may start to view you as emotionally unstable or even burdensome. The key is to strike a balance. Yes, you should be open about who you are, but focus on where you're going, not just where you've been. If you've struggled with something, share it in a way that highlights how you're actively working through it. That shows strength, not weakness. For example, instead of saying, "I hate my job and I feel stuck," try, "I'm in a career transition right now, and I'm excited to explore new paths." That subtle shift changes the energy completely. It shows ambition and progress rather than despair. Emotional honesty is attractive when it's paired with direction and self-respect. Share your truth, but make sure it reflects growth. That's how you create connection without pushing her away. 4. Trying too hard to impress her. Trying to make a great impression is natural, especially early in dating. But when it turns into showing off or constantly highlighting your achievements, it starts to feel desperate instead of confident. Men often fall into the trap of overcompensating. They brag about their salary, name-drop important people they know, or inflate their stories to seem more impressive. But here's the truth. The harder you try to prove your worth, the more you send the message that you're not sure of it yourself. Women can sense when you're overdoing it. It doesn't come off as impressive. It comes off as insecure. And instead of drawing her in, it creates distance. Think about it this way. True confidence doesn't need to be announced. It's visible in your body language, your tone, your actions, and how you carry yourself. A man who knows his value doesn't feel the need to constantly talk about it. He just shows it naturally. So how do you shift this? Focus on being real. Talk about your passions, your interests, and your goals, not as a way to impress, but as a way to connect. Don't exaggerate, don't boast. Let her get to know the authentic you, not the polished version you think she wants to see. When you're grounded in who you are, you become magnetic. You stop performing and you start attracting the right kind of attention, genuine admiration, not polite tolerance. Be proud of your accomplishments, but don't let them define you. Let your confidence come from within. 5. Losing emotional control during disagreements. Every relationship has its share of disagreements. It's completely normal. But how you handle those moments says a lot about your emotional strength. If you lose your temper easily, become overly defensive, or react impulsively, you're sending the message that you lack emotional maturity. Women notice how a man handles pressure. When a small issue causes a big outburst, it's a red flag. It tells her you might not have the tools to navigate conflict in a healthy way. That can make her feel unsafe or on edge. 2 things that kill emotional connection fast. Let's be clear, feeling emotions is human, but acting on every impulse, especially anger or frustration, shows a lack of control. Whether it's snapping over a misunderstood text or shutting down during an argument, these behaviors push her away. The key to fixing this is emotional regulation. When you feel triggered, take a step back. Breathe. Give yourself space to respond instead of react. Listen to her side and speak calmly, even if you're upset. This kind of control isn't weakness, it's incredible strength. Women are deeply attracted to men who remain composed, especially when things get tough. It shows leadership, stability, and emotional intelligence. These are traits that build long-lasting trust. So the next time tension rises, challenge yourself to stay grounded. Don't let your emotions dictate your behavior. Instead, let maturity guide your response. That's what makes you stand out and earns true respect in any relationship. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Remember, becoming a confident and desirable man isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about showing strength through self-awareness, boundaries, and calm leadership. If you found this video helpful, like it, subscribe, and drop a comment below. What's one habit you're working on right now? See you in the next one. And until then, keep showing up as your best self.